Good morning. Welcome to my little factory area, my location. I'm in my kitchen, my eating area, and I'm making this video specifically for the Architectural Committee of Sundance Active Adult. Okay, a lot of concern as to what I'm doing to my yard. A lot of concern. First of all, since the March 13th storm of 2020, when we got so much rain in a short period of time, it was made very aware to me that I needed more work done on my yard as far as drainage. Plus COVID hit, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything, couldn't go out and assemble, so my yard became my workout room, my own little personal gym, where I went every day and lifted weights called shovels filled with rock, and I sifted and I custom landscaped my front, and I'm attempting to finish my backyard. Custom landscape means that when I get the Sundance blend delivered to me, rock, I sift all the impurities out of it. Now what you're looking at here are what I've been manufacturing. Right there you're looking at 16 bags that are 17 inches wide by 36 inches long. So they're 3 feet by 17 inches. And the way I'm going to, here, these are all finished bags. What they're made out of, I'll go over the bag. We'll get real close in on it. What this is landscape fabric with sunbrella. I buy the sunbrella fabric at Lowe's. It ain't cheap. It's about $2 a foot. Okay. The landscape fabric, if you buy it in bulk, it can be cheap. But the landscape fabric, the purpose I'm doing, that sunbrella, this fabric right here is elastic. It doesn't hold shape or form. If you fill it up with rock or sand, it'll get out of shape. Right here. Now what the landscape fabric does is give it form and shape. It doesn't stretch. And as long as you keep it out of the light, out of the sun, out of whatever, that landscape fabric will last forever. Now, to the right of the landscape fabric, and though you're looking at 16, that was most of a day me cutting. Now this table that they're sitting on, I've got index marks. I've got 2 sets of index marks on tape, right there and right here. Okay, those 2 marks, one's for the landscape fabric, the other one's for the sunbrella. I start here, right here, that's a 1 mark, and then if I'm cutting sunbrella, I use one of those marks. If I'm cutting the other, so to do, I've got 16 there. I think I bought something like 25 feet. 22, 25 feet of sunbrella. And I've done that about 4 or 5 times now in the last couple of months. And the reason I'm doing it is to try to stop my position outside of being overrun. Okay? What I do with these bags, the way I keep them together before I run them through the sewing machine, let me explain this sewing machine right here. I bought this sewing machine brand new in 1978. Okay, for about $350. It's a tank. It's a Riccar, made in Japan. I had, for years, I had problems with the tensioning. But I took it over to 35th Avenue Sew & Vac, and this fellow named Steve went through it. And he's got this thing tuned up. I've got great, what I was having trouble with was the tension on this button right here. Getting that tension, I didn't really know how it worked and getting used to the machine. But once I took it over to see this fella Steve, he's from England, and he had it for a couple days and it runs like a top. And I just want to give him kudos. Great person, give me a great deal. Knows what he's doing. It's nice to have somebody that can time it. And the thing with the tension is, and timing it, it got out of a time once because one of the gears broke and I had to replace the gear. And it got out of time and I never could get the timing complete on it. But he did a great job. But what I do first is I cut a 34-inch wide piece of sunbrella. Then I like a 38 or a 36-inch wide of the landscape fabric. And I fold one inside the other. I'll have 2 layers, and I make sure that the outside layer of the sunbrella, this outside layer is facing in because I'm going to pull everything out. I do 2 stitches. I'm very careful with this machine. I always stop and restitch at the end. I've got 2 stitches that go all the way around. I round the corners down there. Okay? I've been sewing since I was a little kid. I built a jib sail about 4 or 5 years ago here. Came out like professional, like a sail loft did it. I've built and made so many things with this machine over the years. Like I said, I was taught how to sew on an old Singer treadle by my mother years and years ago, so I'm not afraid of jumping in. Now, to temporarily hold everything in place, you're going to see staples right there. You see that staple? Well, I put them all the way around about every 4 or 5 inches to stabilize it. It's like basting it. When I get them folded, I've got the sunbrella inside, the outside. I go around and I staple it to like baste it. And then I do my stitching. And the staples can stay in. Now, what's going to happen with these bags when we go outside is I've got 3 grades of rock, 3 grades of minerals that I deal with that come out of the Sundance blend. The Sundance blend, as far as I'm concerned, for drainage sucks. Okay? They're getting away with murder. It's filled with sand and pebbles. What I do is I take the pebbles out and I fill these bags with the pebbles. Because the bag can't stretch and the landscape fabric holds its shape. I've got like probably 60 or more sandbags out there building my corner. Now, the reason I'm building my corner is, in military terms, I'm dealing with interdiction and harassment fire every day from these tee boxes. The long tee boxes over there. Okay, let's start with this graph. This pile right here, I got time and labor in it. I got time and labor in this pile of rock. Okay? Sifting it, moving it, hauling it. Okay? That's pure gravel. Over there up against the, and underneath that tripod and up against the foundation, that is mostly sand. Okay? Now, my logic for what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it is because I've got videos, and I will present them to you, of people walking in my yard from the golf course. The golf course really doesn't have any decorum. They're the 900. This is white ghetto drive-by shootings every day that I have to deal with. We've got some of the most, well, I won't go into it. Let's start what I'm doing. Here's another one that's just pebbles. That's just no sand. And that's what I put in these bags. Now what I do is I fill these bags up with the pebbles and they become real firm. And they become building blocks. What they are is they're loose form, loose fitting building blocks that have a little bit of flexibility. And what I'm doing is I'm building up a defensive position here. You got to understand, if you're in the military, I'm walking point every day on this golf course. For all the mediocre, the beginners, the homegrown swings, people never took a lesson, the beginners, whatever, people who don't care, and people who are punching over their weight. So, and my logic is, I got the golf course plays right up to those white stakes. See them white stakes right there, that cactus? This is all golf course. Anybody can walk up here. If you're playing golf, you can walk up here to my property line anytime you want. The reason they need so much land up here, north of the golf course is down there. That green place, that green belt, that's the golf course. They've got more bailout area up here than they've got golf course down there. They've got more golf course north of the cart path than they do south of the cart path. So everybody's playing up here, they're playing the bank shot. They can't carry the water. Plus I'm dealing with environmental elements. Right now the wind is coming right out of the southwest, right at us. That means my kid's back there on that 50 box and he cranks one with an open face and a weak grip. And he started and fired his hip early, everything opened up and he crushes one up into the wind. Guess what? I'm in. Okay, now these are loose. I haven't gotten around to putting these in place yet. I can rework this any way I want. The reason I've given myself elevation here is because I intend to live on my lot. The golf course has every intention to using right up to where I live as golf course. Do you understand? You have to let us, and if you look all the way down, to Sundance Parkway, my house is the only house that's got white stakes on it. They don't identify every out of bounds as they do because it falls away from the golf course. When I say I'm walking point, I'm walking point. I'm right here. I'm about 35 yards, 40 yards from that golfer right now and right offline. All he has to do is have a mental fart or get disconnected or lose focus and I'm it. All he has to do is hit one off the toe and I'm it. Okay? Now, I'm building up this area here as a defensive position from getting overrun. Here this guy, typical, two balls in a row. One greens fee, I got the risk of having two balls hit near my property line. All right? Typical, day in, day out. If you get a foursome up there that just hit 4 balls, you're lucky. You're lucky. Now, what this is to keep what I've been dealing with for 15 years is every time my ball goes into my yard from over there, and this guy looks like he's going to hit a third one. He's going to set up to hit a third one, so that's like 2 golfers, 4 balls that are going to be hit. That I'm exposed to an amateur, beginner, homegrown swing, right hand or misses right. This is 2 golfers and 4 balls I'm risking, and the guy still hasn't hit the ball. He hasn't hit the sweet spot yet. Now, the reason I'm building this up, and I'll show you a video, a ball went in my yard a couple of years ago. It was hit from over there in the corner, and the guy walked right onto my property. It's in the video. They come up here, and as soon as they see the ball, I'm trying to stop this. Plus, I want to sit out. If they're going to use their golf course right up to my property and be that bold and be that in your face, sticking your chest in my face. Well, I'm going to stick my chest in your face, okay? I pay dues, I pay taxes right here. If I want to sit up here and play a radio and run a camera or read a book or have a party up here, I can. I own this property. I don't have a bank involved. I own it cash. I bought it cash. Here's the guy, he's going to hit the fourth shot. All three of the first ones. But I'll throw this in. This is a story. You probably think it's a joke or something like that. It might be a joke. It could be a joke. I'm being facetious. But you see, right after the Tet Offensive in 1968, I had just gotten out of college. I dropped out of college, so I lost my college deferment in December of 67. So in 68, January, Tet Offensive hit. And instead of backing off, Lyndon Johnson and everybody in the Pentagon escalated, which meant boots on the ground. My high school, they took out of the local high schools, all of us guys played sports together, against each other, with each other, sandlot and everything else, hung out on the street, hitchhiked together, went to dances together. Well, what happened was, right after Tet, around the middle of April, Selective Service rented one of the buses, school buses, and they put about 60 of us street kids on the bus to send us to Albany for our physical. We had to meet that bus about 7 or 8 in the morning. We didn't get to Albany until about 10, okay? Or 9 or 10. Everybody knew everybody. We were all from the same area. And when we got off the bus in Albany, it was already a made deal. The phone call had been made, okay? This recruiter came out, or this bureaucrat, and said, "Who's got notes from your doctor?" And 2 Donald Trumps stepped out of the line, handed him the note, and the guy didn't even verify it, say, "Come with me, we're going to talk this over." He just said, "Get back on the bus. Get back on the bus, you're done, it's over." Took the notes and we never saw him again. While the rest of us got poked, prodded, everything else, bend over, blood tests, everything to make sure we were going to be a good target to stop a bullet in Vietnam. Okay? That's the way I feel about it. I'm very cynical about that war and what took place. A lot of people got rich. A lot of Texans sold a lot of oil to the Pentagon during that war. Okay? So, I got drafted. I was one of the first ones to get drafted out of those 60 people. The first round where they were, and this wasn't a lottery. This was a bunch of old cronies, Lodge Brothers, Shriners, Masons, KSCs, Lions Club, Kiwanis, Elks, you name it. All fraternal brothers that decided my DNA was expendable. Like if they send me away and my DNA come back, the town hasn't lost anything. I was one of the first ones drafted. Okay, I got my letter like about 10 days later. They gave me a month to report. It says, "You've got a month to report." Well, the next morning, I got a call from the Navy recruiter, and he goes, "I know you were drafted. You don't have to go in the Army. You can go in the Navy." I said, "What do I have to do?" He said, "Come up to my office this afternoon," which was 40 miles away, and he said, "We'll get you in the Navy and you won't have to be drafted in the Army." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Marine recruiter, same spiel. Only the Marine recruiter was 2 minutes away with 2 of my buddies that were on the bus with me that went to Albany. They didn't get drafted that round. And he had called them up. He had let them know, LaShawn just got drafted. You could be next. Would you like to talk to the Marine recruiter? And these guys knew it. They knew it. They said, we could be next. We're in the same boat as him. The next round, next week, when they have the next draft, we'll probably be it. So I said, yeah, you can come over, pick me up. My mother said, I don't want him in my house. I don't want any government official in my house. Anything, any bureaucrat. All right? She knew what happened. She knew I was being railroaded. Okay? It broke her heart. Well, anyway, to make the story move along, each one of those guys, he convinced them that I would be next. He let them know, well, Sham's got to go immediately. But if you sign up now, you can get the 4-month deferment, 120 days deferment off your time enlistment. You don't have to report for 4 months. So these guys jumped on it. They jumped on it. One for 2 years, one for 3. When he got to me, I said, what's this 4-year guaranteed aviation? And the guy almost jumped out of the chair. Looked me straight in the eye and he goes, you know that's a 4-year enlistment. I said, yeah, I know. I said, but can I get in it? He goes, I got to make a phone call. So he asked the lady of the house, can I use your phone? He called up some official in his department, and they said, yeah, we have one opening. We have one opening for the Air Wing in the Marine Corps, but he's got to go in like 3 days. Now, I had probably 28 days or 30 days left to hang around before I reported. He looked me in the eye and he says, what are you doing for the next 2 or 3 days? I said, why? He goes, because you got to be sworn in on the 8th. For you to get in the Air Wing and for 4 years, you got to swear in. You got to go in by the 8th. You can't wait till the end of the month. So I went for it. I signed up. Okay? 4 years. I drafted in the Army for 2, but I joined the Marines for 4. I'm a frustrated Marine. You know why? I didn't get to go to Vietnam. Because of what I've got between my ears, they made me an avionics technician on the missile system for the F-4Js. Okay? When they found out what I had between my ears, tested me in Paris Island and all the tests for my honesty, for my geometry, for my math skills, for my problem-solving skills, it's all there. You take tests for a week. Well, anyway, I ended up in the Air Wing. I never made it to Vietnam. So as far as, but when I was in the Air Wing, every 3 months in the Air Wing, I had to go through playing Joe Marine. I had to be a combat-trained rifleman every 3 months. No matter what I was doing, I had to drop out and go and run a 3 miles in so many minutes and do so many push-ups. And then once a year, I had to qualify with a rifle. I was a specialist, like in the Army. I was a technician working on airplanes, but every 3 months they reminded me, you're a Marine. You're a basic rifleman. And we're going to put you through the drill, okay? And every year you're going to requalify with the rifle to know so that you can kill somebody with a rifle, okay? So, and I never made it to Vietnam, so I didn't see any combat. Didn't have anything to do with combat. I would sit and watch Khe-Sanh, and since this Ken Burns made the Vietnam video series, I really got into it because most of the people that I knew that were in, I had one of my best friends was stationed in Camp Carroll for 13 months as an artilleryman, setting up artillery base. He never talked to me about Vietnam. We were close. We were college roommates. He never talked about it. He just was disgusted with the war, thankful to be out. I could never get him to ever talk about Vietnam, and I didn't question him. I figured it was his private little thing in his head. But one night, real quiet at a bar, when we were alone, I once asked him, I said, what was the most distinguishing thing about your service over there? And he goes, being shelled. He goes, you ain't lived until you've been shelled. It's a religious experience because you can't do anything except sit there and take it. Well, I'm being shelled here. I'm a frustrated Marine. I never got to kill anybody in Vietnam. That's a joke. Okay? Everybody's, you're trained killers, and I never got to kill anybody. Okay? Every 3 months for 4 years, I had to be ready to kill anybody at a moment's notice and go defend a position. Now I have my own position to defend, and I'm working out all these frustrations of being a Marine. This is a Marine bunker right here. I'm building a defensive complex to keep from getting overrun by stupid, ignorant golf professionals. The professionals that set up the course, and then these idiots that play it. All right? If you look at that tee box that's out there, I'm in play all day long. This is white ghetto drive-by shooting. Okay? These people, they pay a $25 golf fee, and the next thing they do, they can drive-by shoot. Well, what I'm going to do is, I've got, in time and labor with all these bags and all the sifting and all the sewing and all the cutting that you're looking at right now, lots and lots of time and money. And I should be able to do this. If you can put those white stakes right on my property line and let golfers walk up to it, plus it provides some privacy. That little bunker right there that you're looking at, this little defensive thing, now the people on the women's tee box can't see in my yard. I've got these trees. These are another thing I added. I added these Italian cypress. What happens is my yard is getting scrutinized from that tee box all the time. These ladies come up, and if I'm sitting out here, these ladies that get all upset, they think I'm ruining their game. I'm ruining their game if I have a camera out here, or if I'm out here sitting playing a radio. They look up here like, what are you doing out there? You're not supposed to be there. We're trying to play golf. Don't you realize we're trying to play golf? We don't like it that you're sitting up there bothering us or taking movies on us. Well, that's too bad. When you start paying the taxes and the dues on this lot, and you have ownership with the county of Maricopa like I do, then you got something to say to me. In other words, keep your mouth shut and keep playing golf. I didn't tell you to put that tee box there. That tee box, if you were real golfers, you requested it be put across the lake over there in that point, so that you'd have a real golf course, a real signature 6-hole. Right now, what you got is all bailout. You got more bailout area. That green belt right there is about 1/3 of the size of this hole. This dead man area right here makes up the other. You gotta have it like that because you want to have a 177-yard tee box back there. And you don't want any golfers to lose their ball. You want them to be able to grip and rip from 175 yards and not lose a ball. If they see it go into a yard or they know where it landed, they're free to walk up and get it. That's what I'm dealing with. So right now, Joe Marine right here, somebody honor my service. Okay? This guy that I talked about that was in Camp Carroll, when he got back to the States, he was out in a couple months. He signed up for 3 years and did a 20-month tour. I was home on leave, and I had about a year and a half in the service when I was home on leave. And he had gotten back from Vietnam. And while I was on leave, he made a couple of trips to North Carolina to Camp Lejeune. Before I left, after a 3-week leave, on the last day, he pulled in, he had his discharge. Even though he was a 36-month Marine, he did a 20-month tour. Okay? When he got back to the States, they didn't know what to do with him. All right? So they were letting everybody out early. I never got out early. I had almost a year of electronics training, electronic engineering training from the best Navy schools that the Pentagon had. I served right up to the day. I didn't go to Vietnam, but I dealt with bullshit. He didn't deal with the mess duty that I did. I did mess duty about 4 times while I was in the service. I had to do guard duty while I was in the service. All right? I had all this chicken shit, this stuff to deal with. He didn't. All right? He got shelled. God bless him. But that's one thing that I got out of him about the Vietnam War. The only thing he ever said to me about the war or would reminisce is he said, you don't know what life is until you've been shelled. Okay? Well, I'm getting shelled day in and day out here. And I'm getting sick of it. So, I'm a frustrated Marine. I never got to build a bunker or a defensive position in Vietnam because I didn't make it. But I'm doing it here. And it's necessary because I'm getting overrun day in and day out by stupid, stupid, uneducated, and I consider the most stupid and uneducated are the people that are setting up this golf course. Show a little class. Show a little respect for your neighbors, okay? You guys from the Midwest, you've never lived like back east in the big city. Anybody that lived in New York saw the big game. They saw the big game where people share. People share, they rub elbows, okay? They share elevators, escalators, everything else. They try not to overrun each other. This is blatant malice, declaration of war on my property. And I'm going to keep doing that, okay? I'm going to keep building bags. I probably, in just bags, time and bags, I got a week in bags and about $300 sitting right there. And then all the rock that's in them, all that pebbles that's in them, is right there. I have to sand it first. So appreciate the time and money. I'm trying to make my lot private, and I'm trying to keep people from running over it. These golfers will walk, if I don't have it banked there, they'll walk right up over. Before it was all level, down to ground level, and I'll show you a video where a guy walked right up. He saw the ball in this yard and walked right over it. They're going to have a little more difficult walking over that. Okay? Thank you for listening. I'm going to go put it on to good YouTube right now. You got me wound up. This little event that's happened in the last couple of weeks with the letters, the ambiguity, you know, you got me kicked out of the HOA. I can't communicate for you, but you can send me a letter anytime you want, playing with me. You're playing with me like I was a ball of string and you're a cat, okay? And you're doing it with the golf. You're using golf. This is rash. This is chafing. This is human chafing. You're using the game of golf to smear me, make me look like a fool. Right now I got a camera right there that's recording every golf shot every day. And you're going to see, for the most part, every golf shot is a homegrown swing. All right? It isn't practice. These people haven't spent all day on the range. I know when I was playing golf, I didn't have a cell phone to play with, and I didn't have all these other things to play with. So on days off, when I didn't have anything to do, I pounded balls on the range all day. All right? And I never got past being a bogey golfer. If I shot a 90 on this course, I was tickled to shoot a 90 on this course. Tickled, because I counted every shot, every putt, every drive. If I hit one out of bounds, I called it. And there's lots of days I shot 92, 93 on this course, and I was very proud of that score. Because I was dealing with guys that were all over the place. If I could keep it in play and on the green, these guys don't care about keeping it in play or on the green grass. They don't have it. I'm going to keep making these videos, but there you go. That's my bunker setup. That's my caisson. Okay? I'm being rocket attacked. I'm being rocketed every day by the North Vietnamese over there. Okay? If one has a brain fart, the next thing you know, I got to deal with them in my yard. Thank you for listening.